Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles the Benson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And folks, it's finally happened. That damn Malika Andrews finally got a piece of humiliation that we all been waiting for. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. I'm so excited. I'm rocking my $2 bling. I'm rocking my $2.50 bling. I'm feeling good about it. And I think it's a time for us fellas to celebrate because that damn Malika Andrews has finally been apprehended. So let's talk about it. As you guys know, Malika Andrews is arguably the most annoying person in sports media, and I don't really think it's up for conversation. Is up for discussion. Malika is insufferable. Okay? And it all goes back to when she was on ESPN First Take during the Ime Udoka scandal. Y'all remember that, right? The story came out that Ime Udoka had an affair with a subordinate, or no, a colleague, at the Boston Celtics, and he was being suspended indefinitely. And he was turning around that team. When he took over the team, they became like the number one defense in the NBA. They were doing very well. So the news came out, and in typical nut job fashion, Malika Andrews and a lot of these twerking ass dudes that were pandering came out. Oh my God, Ime Udoka's in the wrong. And we're like, what? He's in the wrong? I'm confused. Yes, he's in the wrong. He ought to know better for doing something like that with a subordinate. And I'm like, subordinate? How you know it's a subordinate? We don't know the person that they're refusing to release information. So they didn't even know. They didn't even know who the person was in question. But people, including these jigaboo dudes, had already came to the conclusion that it was with a subordinate, a person in power. How could you know it was a person in power and we don't know who the person was? Right? So that news broke, and apparently Malika Andrews was at the press conference for what? The Celtics. So she goes there. Her ass gets invited on ESPN, and she proceeded to make herself, in that moment, the most hated person in sports media. And from that point onwards, it was just one thing after another, after another, after another, after another. So for some of y'all who may be new to this whole thing and may be confused why a lot of us are not fans of Malika Andrews, we want to play some of the things that she said and done over the last few years as to why this moment here, we're all going to relish it. Take a listen to Malika Andrews and her greatest hits over the last few years. Take a listen to her here.
Stephen A., with all due respect, this is not about pointing the finger. Stop. What became apparent to me in this press conference is that we do not have all of the information here. And it was frustrating to me that the Celtics declined to elaborate or to give more specifics about what exactly the rule breaking was that led us to this point. So that I just want to get that out of the way first. But to answer your question, Molly, I think what stood out to me, I think what stood out to me is that Brad Stevens, he was upset. That's what stood out to me about what he termed rampant Twitter BS is the word that he used, that women were unfairly dragged into this within the Celtics organization. You could see that Brad Stevens was visibly upset about this. And I also found that to be gross and unnecessary, that folks were bringing in the names and the images of women that is just not a fact. That was purely speculation. And so to me, that is what stood out. But the Celtics as an organization could have done more, and short of doing more ahead of this yesterday, they could have owned that responsibility in this press conference. I understand that there were legal parameters that they had to operate within for everybody involved, and I appreciate the fact that they brought in outside counsel and did a thorough organization. And I think that that is something that was clearly necessary in this situation. But the fact that it was able to go on all day, the fact that we are sitting here debating whether somebody else should have been suspended or not, we are not here, Stephen A., to further blame women. That is not why we are here.
I want to bring in our NBA analyst, Kendrick Perkins, into this conversation because, Perk, you played for the Celtics organization. What were your thoughts on this message here?
Well, one, to me, I didn't like Brad comments on this, and let me explain why. Not the fact that he was taking up and protecting the women in the organization, but you know, he said about the speculations and the Twitter BS and things to that nature, and how unfair it was to the women in the organization that is not involved with this particular situation. And I get that, right? But why is it speculations? It's speculations because of the reports that were put out by the actual Boston Celtics. So they didn't do a great job from the jump of actually protecting the women in their organization, because knowing that they were going to sit up here and give out this information and go out here and suspend Ime Udoka and talk about, just give a little details, is going to have people speculating. And in my eyes, I feel like the Boston Celtics dropped the ball not only in protecting their entire franchise, but in protecting the women as well. They should have made sure that they crossed their T's and dotted their I's before they put this information out. And I get it. Now we're to this point, and now he had to go on here and he had to say this and he had to say that to protect those innocent women. But at the end of the day, man, it just ain't right how they went about it. The word accountability, okay? Accountability doesn't just go to Ime Udoka, okay? Accountability goes to the other people that played a part in that as well. Let me tell you another thing I didn't like about my good friend Wick Grossbeck and Brad Stevens in this press conference when they asked, is anybody else going to be punished? And they said no. And my whole thing is this, right? These are some of the facts that have been out. These are some facts that I know that, you know, this relationship, one of these relationships that was had with Ime Udoka and one of these women, it was consensual, meaning that this woman actually played a part in it too. So my thing is, yes, Ime Udoka was wrong. We get that. His punishment, he deserved that, and whatever else follows, I hate it for him, but he put himself in this position. But why are the other people getting left off the hook?
Well,
that's the problem that I have right now. Everybody got to be held accountable.
I think that we need to circle back to what Shanae said, is that there was a investigation that was conducted by an independent law firm here, and I think that transparency is what will rule the day here. And so without having all of the information, it is unfair and irresponsible of us to go and to speculate on that, because what we have to...
Well, I'm not speculating. Sure. I have the information. I'm not speculating.
But what we have to go with here is the fact that an independent law firm came in, did this investigation, and the facts that they were presented, they came to the conclusion that Ime Udoka violated a policy that warranted a 1-year suspension. And I share your frustration with the lack of transparency, while understanding that there is some things that they need to, from a legal perspective, keep private. But knowing all of that, understanding all of that, we have to come to the conclusion that whatever rule, the conduct that was broken on one side, it is not the same on the other side. I thank you for your perspective.
His name did surface in court testimony involving a case where his former teammate and another man, they've been indicted for capital murder in the fatal of 23-year-old Jamia Harris in January. The University of Alabama has described Miller as a cooperating witness. How is this factoring, if at all, into how teams are evaluating him?
So you heard her. That's Malika Andrews, right? The Brandon Miller, the Ime Udoka, all of these different things. She even threw Kendrick Perkins off the air, right? Then when Josh Giddey stuff, it got so bad that ESPN forced her to make a comment, right? Because they were trying to find some balance. So you had that. So there was a particular clip that was going viral over the last few days. And it featured, I guess this guy's a comedian, who ran down on Malika Andrews, thinking she was Carrie Champion. So he ran down on her and he's like, oh, Carrie Champion, nice to meet you. And Malika Andrews is there smiling like, oh my God, damn, this is awkward. So what we want to do is we want to show you the footage of her finally getting a piece of humiliation pie. And then we're going to continue on the show. Take a look at this, please.
Oh my God, Carrie Champion. Carrie Champion. I knew that was you, Carrie Champion. No, I love you.
I'm not Carrie Champion.
Huh?
I'm not Carrie Champion.
No, you do this. You're a sports reporter.
I do, but I'm not Carrie Champion.
You the finest woman in sports, Carrie Champion.
Unfortunately not, but I appreciate the compliment. My name's Malika.
Who?
Malika.
Malika who? Andrew. Oh, damn, that's Jaylen Brown girl. You Jaylen Brown girl.
I think you're a little confused, buddy.
I'm confused.
Excellent. So you saw it. I think we can all say that we all enjoyed that. I certainly did. Right? I certainly did. Now, to be serious, what's the reason people don't like Malika Andrews? And by people, I mean men. The reason people don't like her is because we feel like she just has something against men, especially black guys. Because for that one, she's ready to get to work. And a lot of people are like, bro, what happened? Like, what did we do to you? Like, what did we do to you? And we also get the sense that she's also sexist, because during that Ime Udoka situation, she made it clear that the only person at fault was Ime Udoka. Like as if he had an affair with a freaking cactus. All right? It wasn't like as if it was then we found out it was a consensual situation. She still wasn't backing down. And you had all of these dudes that were up there simping. Oh, man, how can you do that in a position of power? And like, bro, do you know who it is? Then I think we've later on found out it was one of the owners. Like, really, huh? Position of power, right? The coach messing around, I think, with the owner's wife. Yeah, that's really a position of power. So it's been a long time coming. We did a live show the other day, reacted to the Molly Karam news, and I said, what if they replace Molly Karam and Malika? You should have seen the reaction of people in the chat. They couldn't stand. And then you have these people that come out here, these guys that come out here and try to gaslight you. I don't understand what people have against Malika. Really? You don't? You don't? I don't know why people are being unfair. Really? You don't? You don't? Is that so? Oh, then I guess you're just not gonna know. You just not gonna know. But these are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. And we'll catch you guys on the next show. Peace.